different in that particular position or whatnot, you have to watch out. Because trouble, Samson's desires were getting off here. Notice here it says he desired a woman that he wasn't supposed to desire. Verses 1 through 3. He went through a bit, and he saw a woman, and notice it said it pleased him well, and he told his parents, he said, get her. And they said, you need to marry her. No, get her. I want her. You see, he knew he was set apart. He knew that there was a special purpose, and he knew that some things were, God was going to work some things in his life. But yet we find him seeking after his wrong wife. Going, it's a big flag. Big flag there. I've talked with people before that don't come to church anymore. I talked with them before they weren't coming anymore, when they were just hitting and missing. And I talked with them, and they always knew more than I did about it, because they'd say, I'm fine, man. You just have to have this or have that. I'm good to go. Now what they were sending up to me was big warning signs. It was like flares going up. I said, they're going to be out of church. They're going to be out of church. And you talk to them, and they, oh man, listen. I said, you going to see me? You going to see me right? Well, right? Yeah, I'll be there. This little warning flag was that they wouldn't come. They didn't come. They didn't come. And it went, once they didn't come. And see, the warning signs were that hit and miss. That hit and miss. It's a warning sign. It's a warning sign. Listen, when people stop bringing their Bibles to church, don't even acknowledge, hey, it's a warning sign. See, desires, they had something way more important. And I know, see, we live in a smart technology age, and you can smartphone it, or but I'm gonna tell you something. Some people, that's just an excuse, because they don't look it up on that either. You used to bring it, now you leave it. Now the youth, ain't no big deal. It's a flare going up. So there's something going on in there. And there's a problem. It's like when you're driving a car and smoke's coming out the back. Unless you poured oil on the tailpipe and got it real hot, there shouldn't be smoke coming out the back of the car. There's a problem there. There's an issue there. It's a flag. Or if you're driving your car and little signs come up, and all these things are telling you something, there's a sensor, there's something going wrong. See, it's a flag. See, Samson here, wanting to go with the wrong woman was a sign that there's probably some other things that he's doing that he shouldn't be doing. So you got to be careful, because, listen, what I'm telling you is when you see the little flares go up, if you don't make the right preparations, then sooner or later you're going to have a big explosion, So those little flares are signs that the devil's trying to expose a weakness, or he's trying to trip you up, or he's trying to cause you to slip and fall. And if you don't deal with it, don't get it straight, get that attitude back right, you don't change your desires back to God, then sooner or later, again, the cliffs come, and you know it's coming. And people often, they just steady falling off of it. Steady falling off of it. I was listening to one guy was talking, he said, in Samson's life, there was basically 3 ungodly women, and they limited his service to the Lord during his whole time and basically shortened his life. His whole life, there was 3 major parts where he dealt with ungodly women each time, and it ultimately shortened his life. I'm just telling you, that was a flare. Samson may have been strong physically, but he was weak spiritually. He had no self-control. True strength is not measured in how much you can lift. True strength is measured in how well you can control your actions, your attitudes, your appetites. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. Of course, the Bible says every man's tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. We all go to, temptation and things come, but you have to, again, be aware when things are starting to happen that, hey, this is dangerous. It's just a little sign, a little flashing sign. He desired the wrong women. He desired his own way. Notice he said, get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. Pleaseth me well. That focus there changed. Remember, if somebody talks in that I sense all the time, you try to acknowledge it and write. I try to, if I'm writing a letter or email or something, I always look at how many I's because and try to take them out so that it doesn't sound so, so consumed upon me. You want to try to change the direction. And so when our desires are for the wrong things and our focus becomes more about us, it's a warning sign. There's a problem there. You have to be careful. It was against God's will for an Israelite to marry a Philistine in Exodus 34. But he only was concerned about what made him happy. Listen, whenever people begin to be only concerned about their opinion or what they want, that's a warning sign. There's trouble somewhere. Man, listen, the Bible teaches us to be humble and to be, somebody makes you, back in the day, that 1 mile walk to voluntarily, it takes you to court and wants your garment, give them your cloak, and, it's the attitude of not weak. It's not weak. It's, meekness is knowing you have the ability to do something, but being able to refrain from doing it. And God said, man, listen, we have more meek people in the world. Don't say what you feel all the time. That gives you trouble. But Samson, he desired, had the wrong object, and then his pathway was changed. He desires, listen to me, desires that stand in direct opposition to the will of God should always be a warning flag to us. You know that? You should always know that there should be warning when your desires are always opposite of what you know God's will is. Remember, the Bible talks about the desires of your heart. He'll give you the desires of your heart. But that's when they're in tune with His will. And when they're not, He won't. And so we have to be careful. Listen, you think about some things now. Samson, again, starting to skew a little bit. But in closing here, did you see where in, let's see, in verse 5 it says, then went Samson down, his father and his mother, to Timnah, and came to the vineyard of Timnah, and behold, a young lion roared against him. They're not together, but they're in a vineyard there. And you have to be thinking about, I was reading, one place it was talking about, he shouldn't have been in the vineyard. Even though I understand the principle of, something that has fermented versus hadn't been fermented, and, he couldn't taste the wine or anything strong. I was against. But, it probably just isn't a good place to be in a vineyard if you know that the result of what that vineyard produces is something that you can't take up because you've been separated, set aside for God's service. I'm just thinking, wrong place. Maybe need to go around. But while he's in the vineyard, he gets attacked by a lion. He kills the lion. So he's where he probably shouldn't have been. Little flag there. He takes, the lion, rends it with his hands because he's, got that strength. And then remember, he comes back because honey gets in, and I ain't gonna get into all that. But anyway, that's some good honey in the carcass of the dead lion. But he ain't supposed to be touching dead things. But he comes back to that place. Don't tell his mom and them where he gets the honey from. So he basically calls them to sin too, because they're supposed, you get where I'm going at. You get where I'm going at, man. These flares are shooting up everywhere. And no wonder Samson ends up in a place where he's in Delilah's lap, and then they shave his hair, and he's, they pop his eyes out. But the hair of his head began to grow, and the relationship he had to God was restored. And he killed more Philistines in his death than he did his life. But nonetheless, his life was short because he skewed off. There were some warning signs, what I'm telling you. If you think about it like this, in the Bible we have David, man after God's own heart. Man after God's own heart. That's what the Bible says about him. And he falls because he watches Bathsheba over the fence. And gets sucked in and allows temptation to set. That, listen, warning flag. You know, that's a big warning flares. You know, he ends up getting all this kind of stuff. And he's the man of God's own heart. We got Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived. All right? The Bible says, you know, 1,000 women, 300 concubines. God told him, don't do that. After 1, 2, don't do that. It said his wives turned his heart away from God. He followed after false God. One, you know, big problem, Solomon. So we got one of the most sincere David. We've got the wisest Solomon. And now we got the strongest Samson. Samson's life is basically categorized by 3, you know, these ungodly women that he got attached to that skewed him off course and it cost him. Okay? But before each one, again, there were warning flags. I mean, you think about it, David at a time when he's supposed to be battling, he's at home. See, he hadn't been there. He would have had Samson, you know, he started to desire the wrong stuff. Then he's in a vineyard. Then he kills dead, goes back to it. You know, starts out. You know, so those are little warning signs. Solomon, we read Ecclesiastes. He's getting bored with life. He's trying. You know, he said, you know, everything's vanity and vain. He's got more money than he ever needs. He's got all this stuff. So he started, you know, shoot up firecrackers. You know, something's going on. So what I'm telling you is that in all these categories, there's tremendous potential, but it's skewed because, you know, there were warning signs, but nobody paid attention to them. Now God did, because God, you know, warned them all and told them. But when we throw God's word aside, we've got to remember that it's going, you know, it's cost, and it costs them. Isn't it wonderful to know that we can attach ourselves to the God of all strength? That He has the strength to carry us through whatever it is, whenever. I mean, that He's that powerful that physically He put strength in a man that he's able to do what nobody else could do, but He goes beyond that kind of strength. Spiritual strength. You get it? That God can do. That He's strong enough to do whatever. But we've got to be smart enough to sometimes realize the devil's going to trick us. And when he does, there's going to be warning signs. You know, but when it says bridge out, they don't put that sign where the bridge is at. They put it before so that you don't go to that point. You know, the bridge is out ahead. Bridge out 1.5 miles ahead. And so if we'll be aware that, hey, God does the same thing. He said, hey, you know, bridge out ahead, danger ahead. He gives us plenty of warning to say, hey, I better get back off this road. I better get on the right path. My desires, what God would have them be. That's a warning. If you desire the wrong stuff, man, that's, you know, it can get you in trouble sometimes. And just be careful, because all the signs of these guys, it pointed danger. But when you acknowledge the signs and you're willing to make the changes, man, the sky's the limit of what God can do. And God showed that in Samson's life at the very end. I mean, listen, we're talking about a cathedral type thing, that big pillars, and he said, just put my hands on it. And he was able to push, and the whole thing followed. You're talking about God still was able to do great things when he got back to where he needed to be. So, man, it's good to know we serve a God who's able to do great things. And we just got to make sure we keep that relationship what it needs to be. Because, again, He can do great, more than we could ever imagine. But we just got to be aware of the warning signs and get back where we need to be. Father, thank you for your goodness. Thank you for the blessings that you bestowed upon us. Lord, I'm thankful that you are a great, Lord, you are a great God we serve. Lord, I'm thankful that you love us, you care for us, that God, without you, we can do nothing. But with you, all things are possible.